Today we're going to do broiled potatoes and sauteed Cajun fish with a Thai sweet chili mayonnaise. Okay, get these potatoes going first. I got my oven preheated. It's on the broiler. Remember about that broiler. We want to keep our pieces fairly thin and flat. We want these to cook pretty quick. The fish is only going to take about 6 to 8 minutes to do. So I'm going to spray this pan over here. We'll lay these potatoes out on this thing. We'll lay them flat. Remember about that broiler, that thing will just destroy anything you put in there if you don't keep an eye on it. So this little thin one, that's going to come out maybe a little too dark, but that's okay. And then we're going to spray this with that salad oil. And we're going to put a little seasoned salt on them. Any dried herbs you put on there are going to burn up under the broiler. So powdered garlic and all that stuff, that'll have a hard time because that's a direct fire heat or a direct electrical heat, but it's this far away, so it's pretty hot. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get these in right now. Let's move this out of the way. Get some of this Cajun seasoning in here. This is a Cajun made by the famous barbecue grill brand. It's not too spicy. We want to get plenty on here though. And I want to get this burner hot. Before we go any further. Alright. You want to get that pan to about 350, 360. So when you're sauteing, you want to keep it at a lower heat because you don't want it to get too hot too fast. It'll just burn right up. And we want to get a little bit of butter in there. There's about a tablespoon and a half. And we want to get a little salad oil in there. Salad oil is going to change the smoke point from the butter. Butter will start to smoke fairly fast. Difference between frying, sauteing is the amount of butter you got in there. Alright, that feels pretty hot right there. That's good. And we're going to throw a little flour right on top of here. Save a little bit of time. Save the dishes too. While this is getting hot, I'm going to get some bread down in there and get that toasted. Okay, you get this nice and dredged over here. You don't want a whole lot of excess flour because that's just going to fall off into your butter and burn. Alright, this looks good, huh? I'm going to go ahead and get this one off of here. Oops. Ooh, it's going to be greasy, huh? Right, nice and toasted. Alright, so when you're doing fish, you got a meat side and you got a skin side. put the meat side down first. So when you turn it over, the skin side goes down and you have a nice presentation. We'll look at the difference in that in a minute when this is ready. All right, get that in there. As soon as you get it in, just give it a little shake. All right. Okay, this is a pretty darn thick piece right here. That's going to take about 3 or 4 minutes per side, and then we'll flip it over. So the heat's a little high, and we're sitting a little high here, right at about 370, 365. So I want to go 360, 350. So we're good here. Now that seasoning is underneath the flour, so that flour will get a chance to crisp up nicely and crust up. It's nice and low, so it's not going to burn on us. If it was too high, it would just burn up on you, and then the inside would be raw. And so just let it go, let it take its time. I'm going to move over here. Alright, meanwhile, we've got Thai sweet chili sauce and some mayonnaise. So we're going to get about 2 tablespoons, about a tablespoon of that mayonnaise. It's only 1 piece of fish here. Now this would also work for chicken, just the same. Chicken cooks a little bit slower because it's thicker and the meat's a lot harder to cook. Alright. And that's it, basically. Look at that. You know that firecracker shrimp we get at that place? This is basically the same seasoning, the same sauce that's on it. Yeah, they have their own little secret things in there. But that's it right there. It's got a little bite to it. You could put a little sambal in there. A little cayenne pepper if you want to throw that extra heat. That's fine. But we got plenty of heat on that fish too, right? So let's leave that be. Okay, this is getting pretty hot under here. Pan's at 450 where that should not be. Let's flip this guy over. Alright, don't try to splash it over because you'll just burn yourself. Get it over. Oh, look at that. Nice Cajun seasoning in there, nice and brown. Probably looks dark on the camera, but it's not. So when the fish is cooked, it'll separate under pressure. See, these little thin sides right here are fairly thin, so they're going to separate real easily and they'll cook fast. This thicker part right here is going to need about 3 or 4 minutes. If it's getting too hot, turn it down. But I'm sitting right at a perfect temperature here. Potatoes only have about a few more minutes left because those guys are underneath that broiler. That thing ain't messing around. Alright, here's potatoes after been 4 or 5 minutes? These are pretty well done right here. Nice and cooked and tender. Let me poke a hole in there. We'll poke that one. That's perfect. So we can flip these over and do the other side if we want. We don't really need to. You can if you want, but I'm not gonna. So the potatoes are done. See how fast that was? That was the broiler don't mess around when it comes down to that stuff. Okay, fish. Fish is cooked right here. Right here it's cooked. Right here it's not separating under pressure completely yet, but it's starting to. So we got about 2 minutes left on that. So let's get over here with our potato. Ooh, that's a big potato, ain't it? That's alright, we're not going to eat all that, but I'm going to leave it there because it looks good for a picture. Now our fish, you see how it's given away? You look down inside of there, our fish is about 95% cooked. Potatoes are nice and tender. Here's our sauce over here. It's nice and marinated. You can taste it if you like. If you think you need more salt or whatever you want in there. More heat. I wouldn't put Tabasco sauce in there. Tabasco's got a little bit of vinegar. Alright, this guy is done. Look at that. I'm going to break that up so you can see down in there. Isn't that nice? We can turn off that heat. This guy's pretty darn big for a sandwich. Aw, I destroyed it. That's okay. I'm just going to eat it anyway, right? And we'll put a glob of that right in the middle. And we'll turn this sideways and put that over it. Look at that, we just hid that. It looks good for TV. And there we have it. 10-12 minutes. We got a sauteed tilapia, broiled potatoes. Can't beat that, right? Like I was saying, if that was a piece of chicken, you'd have a thick piece of chicken. That's going to take a little longer. So you want to keep that at about 325. But it's the same process with sauteing. A little bit of flour. Let that flour just soak just for a second. And when you cook it up, it'll brown up nicely.